So this has been overdue. I wanted to draw a buffalont all along, but for some reason, I don't know why I never got to it. Yet this is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's the buffalont. It does not evolve, as we know already. A buffalont does not evolve. It's just that one type of buffalont, and they move around in parks. So I recently caught one of these, and I think I should just take a crack at drawing it, and let's see how that goes. So I'm trying to map out its big shapes, and then slowly I'll start, putting in the details. But this is how I actually start all my drawings. Like, I have to kind of draw these gestural lines to kind of show where all the parts of the drawing are going to be, like I want them to be. This is actually, if you ask me, the most important part of the drawing. You literally have to know where you want everything to be. And most of the times, if you get this part right, the rest will be easy, because it will be just blocking it in. But this is kind of the hardest part. At the same time, the most important part. Because if you get this part right, everything else will just come easy. But yeah, so he has this kind of bush around his head, and his head kind of slopes in a little bit here, so it's gonna be around there for his nose, and it slopes in. Actually, what I need to do is I need to make this a little bit smaller. It looks like it's puffing out a lot, and I have nowhere to put the legs. This is the beauty of digital drawing too, because you can resize things. Besides not being worried about the materials, you have to resize. You can resize things. You can move things around. Of course, you can undo and redo. Yeah. I'm gonna take this as the front leg here, so I think I want to cut it off around there. And so at this point, I'm seeing where every part of this buffalont is in relation to other parts of its body. So this is, I think, small. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, and then draw this most predominant leg. Oops, we got an eraser there that we don't need. And now most of the applications do the same thing. So this actually, I think, started off with Procreate, where if you wanted to initiate the eraser, you just had to double tap on the flat side of your pencil if you're using a pencil to draw. But now even Sketchbook Pro has it now. And let me see, I think I want to hold him and push him to this other side a little bit, like right there, so I can have his chest puffing up this way and going into his tail. And of course, it culminates into his horn, and this picks off of that for the hind leg. For the hind leg right there. And of course, it's going to be a little bit higher than the front legs to give it a little bit of perspective, to show that it's in the back. His shoes. or his hooves or his toes cut in like that. So you can see I'm jumping around because usually what happens is when I draw a certain part and I know I actually got that part, I kind of want to draw the other part of that. Oops, that ran away real quick. I just want to move it over a little bit towards his nose. Like so. No, but I was saying, so when I find a part that I draw and it works, I want to find other parts. For example, when I draw the hoof and I observe that, I just want to draw all the hooves that he has on him and make sure I got those in. There we go. Drawing a little bit more on the hind leg over there. So at this point, nothing is tied down at all. You just have to keep in and out on all his features. And that is the first phase of the sketch for me. Okay, so I'd made that long. I gotta push that up a little bit. And as usual, it's starting to darken, which I hate about my artwork. I hate it when it darkens like that. It means I'm over-emphasizing some lines. Maybe it could be my signature move. I don't know. But yeah, if you're here for the first time, what we do is we go around the world, catch Pokemon, and we don't end on catching them, but we draw them. So we're literally changing it from gotta catch them all to gotta draw them all. And we've been successful about that. So I think we've drawn about more than 200 Pokemon at this point. And your question should be more than 200 Pokemon and you've never drawn a Bouffalant? Like, that's a shame. Now you know why we haven't drawn it. Because this is hard. This is pretty hard. It's not as easy as you think. And bring those horns in. They have rings around them. So even the rings are not perfect. I'm just mapping out where I actually want them to be. And looking at the bigger picture, I think the proportions are a little bit off, but we should go with that for now. And we're going to correct it more onto the next, to the secondary sketch. Onto the secondary sketch. But this is the initial kind of mapping in. And the more you draw now, you can see I'm starting to put a little bit more details on him. I'm starting to kind of map out his man, even though it's not still perfect. I kind of just want to see what I can get away with, what I can put in there, and where actually I may need to adjust for the proportions to fit right. and of course use the power of the eraser. If it's not working, you gotta take it out and you gotta redo it. And that's what art is all about. Experiment and experiment and experiment some more. So I believe I'm gonna get this, and I'm gonna squeeze him in a little bit. I'm gonna bring this and stretch him out a little bit. Yeah, I think that is showing more the proportions than it was before. I still need it. There we go. Let's stretch out a little bit even farther. That looks a lot better. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer on top of this one. And now I'm gonna go for the secondary sketch. In the secondary sketch, now I need to be a little bit more serious and I need to pay more attention. Not just the proportions, but now we're gonna start to actually hone in a little bit of the details in there so we can make sure what we're doing is looking a lot more refined. So on sketch number 2, we have to make things look a lot more refined, add a little bit more details, and pay a little bit more attention to what we're doing. So now I know where to start. I'm going to start with the man, and I see its kind of shape, and then I'll, you know what, let me actually start with the horns. Yeah, I'm on the right track here. And bring that in. His horns twist and turn. So this is a more defined part of the sketch now. And my ring's gonna... Everything at this point starts to look a lot more refined. In the secondary sketch. So you can see how I'm moving the second ring all the way from where it was initially and bringing it all the way in now. Like you can see, it was here at first. Now the line moves all the way here. That's what I said, paying a little bit more attention to the proportions, placement, size, and everything in between negative spaces. So that means this is gonna have to cut around here as well. And now you can even start to see in the details how many of these, say, rings I have around the horn here. which one is big, which one is smaller. So the next one here is going to be a little bit bigger, like so, and it cuts into a small one at the end here. So that actually is not good placement, so I gotta cut it in a little bit, bring the big one to round off around there. And this is the point I use my eraser as well. There's a little white line that goes in here to give me the run of the horn. So I bet that will go around like that. I will indicate that as well. So on his man, it has this kind of wave going on. So that is giving me the placement and size of the outer line of the man. That's big, followed by a thin one, followed by a small one, and then a big one. And then two small ones that are supposed to culminate into the ring. So that's more like it. Oh, did I tell you I'm drawing outdoors actually? So it's starting to get warm here in Massachusetts, and I'm outside in a park enjoying my drawing and talking to myself. And thank God nobody has walked up to me to try to jibber jab in my ear while I'm doing very important work here. I'd totally pay to keep it that way. That looks just about right. That looks just about right to me. So if this cuts across like this, then there is a little one that starts off here, goes into a big one, goes into a small one, and fizzles off into a straight one. And now, with this motion going through is where we're going to find the motion for the other horn. Like so. As the next ring is taking its rightful place here. Uh-oh, I'm blackening it out again. Gotta chill a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to warm up here in Massachusetts, so you're gonna see a lot more videos because we can go out a little bit more. We can catch more Pokemon. We could draw more. The more we catch, the more we draw. That's just how it works. The better it is outside, the easier it is for me to actually go out there and catch and draw Pokemon. That's just how it works. It's the laws of the nature. Oh, I should say it's the nature of the beast. And the beast that we're drawing today is the Bouffalant. I must say I've caught a bunch of these, and they have a really good CP. I'm lucky everywhere I find them, they tend to have a high CP. And the fact that they actually do not evolve, I use the candies that I catch on them to kind of increase their power, their combat power. So I think I have about 4 of these in my Pokédex, and they all have more than 1200 CP. That's why I don't understand up to now I haven't drawn any of these bad boys. And I think the last one I code that inspired this drawing, I coded in a place somewhere in Brockton, Massachusetts. But right now I'm in a park outside drawing in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, kind of neighboring cities. But yeah, as I said, the more it looks beautiful outside is the more you're gonna see me come out to draw. Not just draw, but catch Pokemon and draw more. I guess it makes sense if I put it like that, because it's beautiful outside. It's New England. The winter sucks here. Very depressing. You don't want to do anything when it's winter time. Let's place his eye in there. Looks like so. It's hidden in there with his head tilted down, showing you how strong he is. So now, after this secondary sketch, then I go ahead and ink my work in there. Now at that point it depends on what type of work I'm doing. This kind of work I cannot sell it, so the inking part is just for drawing purposes. But the work that I can sell, my original work, is at that inking part. I deduce or I create a coloring page. I create a coloring page out of that, and I create a coloring book. Out of that page. And if you haven't seen any of my coloring books, you should go ahead and check them out. I'll leave the link in this video to my Amazon store, where you can find all my coloring books. And that supports me. Thinking of support, mentioning support, if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you've watched this video all my boring self to this level, I think at this point it's sacrilege if you haven't subscribed. You should go ahead right now, hit the subscribe button, and also let me know what you think in the comment section below. Criticize my work. Yeah, I could take it. Send me a critique. Be nice though. It's the internet. Like, you don't lose sleep if you don't leave a good comment. But whatever, I could take it. I've been on the internet for a bit now. I know what you guys are about. No, I'm kidding. Give me good comments, guys. And also share with another person who loves drawing. This one you could have actually drawn along if you love drawing. You could have drawn along, and at the end of it, we both are gonna have a drawing of a Bouffalant Pokemon. If you just here for my cute voice, I still welcome you. So this one I'm drawing on his hoof. It's off a little bit like this, and it cuts in like that. And now you can see the sketch that we're putting on top of our original sketch is a lot more defined. It's a lot more pointed, and it's a lot more telling, or even beautiful, you could say. I don't know if my microphone is actually bringing in the sound of the birds, but where I am right now, there is a family that went to McDonald's and they don't know what to do with their fries. So since I'm in a public park, they brought the fries with them and they're feeding it to the birds. And there's seagulls all over the place. Because they're throwing the fries out of the car, and the seagulls love that. So they're feeding it to them. I hope I catch some of those sounds in this video so you guys can hear what it means to live in Massachusetts. There we go. That looks pretty good if I may say so myself. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this over here. This Pokemon reminds me of actually when I drew a mama swine. They kind of have the same color scheme, and the features are kind of buffed the same way. Now, if you didn't watch that video where we drew, we actually caught a pillow swine and drew a mama swine. One of the other Pokemon that I actually want to evolve all the way. Oh, recently, guys, I hope you've watched it. Recently, I made my dream come true of evolving a fully blown Venusaur from an Ivysaur from a Bulbasaur. So that is one of the Pokemon that I've evolved all the way to its final form of evolution. I've evolved a Venusaur, and I think I actually shared a video. Wow, that's a tongue twister. I shared a shot of me evolving an Ivysaur into a Venusaur. Don't rip me to pieces, but I think I got that arrangement good. Bulbasaur. Ivysaur. Venusaur. And I evolved it. Let me actually leave the link to that video on this video so you guys can go ahead and see that. At that point, you guys let me know if you play Pogo, if you play Scarlet and Violet, whatever you play. Let me know what Pokemon that you've evolved step by step to its final form of evolution. And that was actually cool because in that one I dropped a few gems. If you've been watching the channel for a little bit, you know what I've been doing to actually evolve that to its form of last form of evolution. And you should know that I actually made it my buddy and I was walking around with it, and every once in a while it finds a candy or two, every time I walk like a mile or two, and that helps me to actually collect up candies for that specific Pokemon in order for me to be able to evolve it. So looks like we finished our secondary sketch, and now, ladies and gentlemen, drum rolls please, whatever you've been waiting for. It's time for us to go ahead and ink this sketch. So let me actually define this a little bit more before I go into the inking phase. Yeah, I defined those a little bit more before going into the inking phase. So now what's going to happen, I'm going to go to that one and I'm going to drop its opacity as well. I'm going to turn the first one off. I'm going to drop the opacity for that one. And I'm going to go on the next layer. And now let's go ahead and bring our inker right there. Another thing is I usually put my stroke predictivity, which is stroke smoothing if you're using Sketchbook Pro, up to about 4. And one other thing that I just realized on the last Pokemon that I drew is that if I put my pencil, it should be in around 3%, 2 to 3%. That's a beautiful little pencil. If I put it up to 19 or whatever, so I put it to about 4%, 3.94%. Yeah, that's a good size. And that's what my ink line is. Yeah, that's good. So now let's go ahead and start inking it. And we don't have a lot of time on these, and YouTube does not have 24. I mean, I can only upload the very long videos, so I don't want to upload too long of videos to bore you guys. I just want to create a manageable video for you guys. So now let's go ahead and ink our Bouffalant in. And of course, after inking, you all know what's next. Is gonna be, first of all, developing a color scheme. And after developing a color scheme, then we're gonna go ahead and color our Bouffalant. I don't know why I don't like that back. I don't like that back at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo it. I said it earlier on, guys, with art, it's all about experimenting. So you may draw one line 5 or 6 times and it's not to your taste. It's not to your satisfaction, and you keep drawing it over and over and over again. And anybody who gets pissed off because the line cannot go where they want it is not, this is not meant for you. Because if this is meant for you and you enjoy the torture that it gives you, then you should be able to draw a line 3 to 7 times before you think it's where you want it to be. Some of us enjoy that torture. There you go. And hey, yeah, every once in a while you can draw it once and like it. You know? It's not all the time you have to draw a line 5 times. Sometimes we could draw it 4 or 5 times. Sometimes we could draw it once and it works. Ew, I hate that one. And I like that one. There we go. Good progress. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. This is a time you really need to support me. I need your support, and I'm not afraid to ask for it. By subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. No need to pay. You don't pay to support me. We can't afford that. But you can comment. You can like. You can subscribe. You can share with friends. Everybody who does this, everybody who plays Pokemon, everybody who likes art knows another person who does like Pokemon, knows another person who likes, or who's an artist, or who likes drawing. Or if you like boring, you know another person still who likes boring. So please go ahead and share with that like-minded, boring person. Like, we can't be the only ones. There's other people out there who like Pokemon, who like boring, who like art. Please share, share, share. Let's make our community too of boring people. I don't know. Or if you like digital illustration, you may not like Pokemon, you may not like boring, you may not like Bouffalant, you may not like any of this, but you've stuck around and watched this video, so you should just like sharing. Sharing is caring. So this one should be a lot easier. If I get the arch, whatever, I should just take them in single shot, like so. And that's where the smoothing or predictive stroke, this feature that Sketchbook has, helps me. You may not like any of the things that I said, but you probably like Sketchbook Pro. You know what the best thing could be? The best thing could be if you tagged Sketchbook Pro and told them, hey, look at this guy. He mumbles while he draws, but he uses your software to draw. If we tag him enough times, you know what could happen? Maybe Sketchbook Pro will see the video and Sketchbook Pro will say, hey, Samuel, we want to pick you up for a sponsorship. And that way, guess what you'd have done? You could have supported me more than anything you could ever know. You know? I don't have any brand deals on this channel. Maybe maybe Sketchbook Pro could be a brand deal that I get. And they say, oh, every video that you make using Sketchbook Pro, we will give you blah, 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 blah. And they talk out money. Ooh, that would be great. Or, okay, here's another one. If you don't like Sketchbook Pro, you could tag Apple, because I'm using the 12-inch iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil 2 to draw this. So maybe you could tag Apple, and I'll create a little short where I'm actually drawing this, and Apple sees this, and Apple says, oh my gosh, that boring guy is our guy. Let's give him brand deals. And that way I'll be concentrating on creating these boring videos for you every day, because Apple will be giving me so much money. It sounds like dreams of a stoner. But yeah, that's how things work. So our Bouffalant is starting to look good because the ink work is coming in pretty good. And as I mentioned, usually after I draw the ink work, if it's my original work, it's not Pokemon. After I draw this ink phase, then that's the image that I take and I put in my coloring books. And if you've been watching this channel for some time now, you should know that I create coloring books that I sell on Amazon. And I'm gonna leave the link to my Amazon store in the description below. So if you want to support me that way, that's even better. You could go ahead and pick up. I have books on almost everything. I have books on kawaii drawings. I have books on animals. I have books on birds. I have books on fish. I have books on mythical creatures. One of my books that is selling right now very well is a book on turtles, sea turtles, the ultimate sea turtle coloring book. I have books on kookaburras. I have coloring books on tea time, cat. I have coloring books on almost everything that I've ever drawn. And so you could go ahead and pick up a coloring book. Most of them are below $10, and you get them from your Amazon store, from the usual Amazon website that you actually do your shopping on. That's where you can pick up my coloring books. And you can, that way you will have supported me directly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you pick up a coloring book from my store, you will have supported me directly. And that's appreciated. So I'm going to leave the link to my Amazon store in the description and pin the comment on this video. So you could go and support me directly through those. Oh, maybe we could go ahead and tag the official Pokemon so they can see what how I'm doing this work from playing Pokemon Go and finding this Pokemon, and also redrawing the official Pokemon work in my own way like this. And probably they will pick me up too and say, oh, Samuel, what we're going to do is we're going to give you rights to about 5 Pokemon that you can create coloring books, coloring pages out of it. And that will be epic. So go ahead. Go in the comment section. You have no idea how much power you have. For example, if enough people actually go ahead and comment and tag the official Pokemon, that you'll have spoken. I don't need to say anything. Pokemon will go ahead and look for me, and they will actually grant me the rights to use some of these images. So even if you didn't want to draw along, you could go ahead then and purchase the books of these Pokemon in coloring form, and you can be able to color those images in, and let's all grow together. It's a big, beautiful world out there. So you don't know how much power you have in your hands right now. You could go ahead and comment and tag the official Pokemon YouTube channel. They'll be able to see that you tagged them, and they can do whatever they want with me. I can go from creating fan art to being on the oh wow, that would be my dream come true, being on the official Pokemon art creation team. I would love that. And before you know it, I have visits. I'm going to Japan. I'm on the official USA Pokemon drawing team. I'm creating coloring books with Pokemon in them. Ooh, that would be great. That would be great. That would be a dream come true for me. That would be a dream come true for me. Seriously. So go ahead, comment, tag the official Pokemon YouTube channel. There we go. That looks pretty awesome. And as I mentioned before, after this level, the next level is going to be coloring in this Pokemon. So we go ahead and create. I'm going to show you the easiest way you can color in this Pokemon. And that's by creating the coloring palette first. So you plan it out, you know what colors you're going to be using, and then after that you go ahead and know what color is supposed to go exactly where. And then to add a 3D feeling to it, you go ahead and actually add shadows and light the scene. That will bring your Pokemon to life. It will give it a 3D kind of feeling to it. Talking about 3D, I literally was on the plane going to Africa, and I spent all my 8 hours from Boston to Europe drawing a Pokemon. One Pokemon. If you've guessed it, I was drawing a humanoid Pokemon, Cinderace, in a 3D fill. I drew a Cinderace in a 3D fill, and actually let me pop in the artwork of that Cinderace that I did on a plane for 8 hours. This work you see right here popping into your video right now was an 8-hour creation. It took me 8 hours to draw that Pokemon. 8. So usually if I'm drawing a 2D feeling of the work like this one I'm drawing, it takes me about 3 hours, but it took me a good 8 hours 8 hours to draw that Cinderace, and I am so proud of that work. I hope you are too. And if you did not watch the video of me drawing that Cinderace, I will still leave the link to it on this video up here. You can go ahead and watch it right now, or in the description of this video. you will go ahead after you watch this one, and you'll be able to watch me draw that Cinderace in 3D. Alright guys, we seem to be having a problem now. For some reason, my pencil won't work. I think it's dead. Let me see if it's dead. No, it's on 92%. Why wouldn't it work? So what's going to go ahead and happen, I'm going to close the program and I'll be back again. I'll open it up and start from here. Let me see. Let me restart it and see why it's not working. Hi guys, you will never believe what just happened. Let me show you. So you see this? There is this lock screen there. Now that I'm not wearing my glove, I for some reason forgot my glove at home when I was coming out here in the park to draw. So I'm not wearing my protective glove. So I knocked that by accident and I figured it out. When you knock that and you draw, nothing will show up until you unlock the layer and you'll be able to draw on it. Boom, mind's blown. That's mind blowing. That's why my pencil was stuck and I was not able to actually draw. But it was good that I was gone for a bit because I figured something out that I actually need to fix on this drawing that is making my drawing look a lot wonky. So I'm going to go over to this layer. I'm going to take the predictive stroke off and I'm going to bring a pencil. So you see this is higher than this. This is throwing my work off. It feels like this leg is in front of this leg, and that is wrong. So his left hind leg is supposed to be in front of the right hind leg. So which means what I have to do is I have to prolong this leg and bring it around here in order for this drawing to make sense. A little below this, but a little below this, but a little above this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to redraw the entire leg. So what's going to happen is I'm going to bring the selection tool. I'm going to select this part. And I'm going to bring the transformation tool. And I'm going to move it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually bring my selection tool. And I'm going to select this leg here in the back, which I want to move down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and select the transformation tool. Let me see if this can nudge it down a little bit. No, that's not working. So I got to go ahead and... oh, there it is. Now I can select it and I can move it down a little bit. So I wanted to show that. Actually, let me move it on the side a little bit as well. I think that's way too much. So I gotta bring it back up a tiny bit. So now what's gonna go ahead and happen is I'm gonna go ahead and draw it. There is where I actually want it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually bring my eraser first. So now we're gonna start fitting in our colors, and I just had I already have them over here. I have them the color palette all sorted out. So what's gonna go ahead and happen? So now I'm gonna start putting in the colors. So what happens is I have to have I usually duplicate my ink layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap that layer and I'll duplicate it and I'll go to the one underneath it and I'll start blocking in the bigger colors first before I go onto the smaller colors. Now that I already have my colors down for this, let me see what every single one of them goes. So I'll pick the color and let me actually see if I can use the paint bucket. Oof, I can't use the paint bucket, so I set myself up there a little bit, but for me not to waste time, I'll just go ahead and actually Let me actually decrease the tolerance and see. Oh, when I decrease the tolerance, I am actually able to do what I want. And that one is a wrong position. I want it in there. So it was, you could see it's more of troubleshooting. So every once in a while, you just want to have a little bit of tweaking here and there, and you'll be actually able to grab what you want. So that color is gonna go on there. I'm gonna pick the color for the horns. I'll still use the color picker. And if you don't know what I'm drawing in, I'm drawing actually in I'm using Sketchbook Pro. It's available on Sketchbook Pro is available on the iPad Pro, which is exactly what I'm using right now. So I need a gray color. I need this grayish color. I think that's a little bit too dark, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually try to manipulate it around a little bit. I think that's perfect right there. Let me see what else I need. I need a more toned gray for his feet. No, that's not it. It has to be a little bit more toned. Let me see how that looks. That actually looks pretty good. But then again, I need a darker one for this part of the legs. And I think that's actually pretty good. And so what is important with this is that now I'm gonna need to start I'm gonna start manipulating around the color to have a little bit more of shadows in there. And with the shadows is what I'll use to shadows and highlights to create a more dimension to it. I think that's actually looking pretty good. So I put the color flats down. Now I'm gonna go on top of that layer, and I will actually start putting in my dark parts. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and bring in black. And nope, I do not want that. So now what is gonna go ahead and happen, this is where I'm gonna use the brush, and I'm just gonna go in here like so. That's too big. I want it down a little bit. I'm just gonna go in here like so. And so what I do is I do this, and then I go in, I lower the opacity in order for me to have actually appealing shadows. And for the highlights, I use white, and I still lower the opacity. So I need the brush, bring this in here. So in the end, when you have your drawing, what should I call it? Your drawing process streamlined, it gets to be a lot easier. You will finish the drawing a lot faster because you know exactly what you're looking for and where you're supposed to be putting it in. So this is gonna cut across around here. And I try to make the image as realistic as possible, but also at the same time, I just want to bring out the image of showing that this is actually Bouffalant. That's all I go for in these drawings. Not clearly reproducing the image that they have in the official Pokédex, but pretty much drawing something that you guys can recognize as, say, that Pokemon. And don't worry about this one not being able to be visible. When I lower the opacity, let me actually do that right now, and lower the opacity down, you can see how the dimension comes in without actually seeing the black color. Now that I know exactly what I want, I'm just gonna go to town with it. and just add the shadows where I want the shadows to be. Actually, you know what? There's two kinds of shadows to this Pokemon. So that's going to be the lighter part. Let me actually try this on here. Yeah, that actually works. And what I like about this method of adding shadows is that you don't have to actually figure out what color shadow should be on each different color, but one color will actually work for all your color flats. So you can see I have the same color I'm using on all the different colors in order for me to just make them a little bit darker, just to show the shadow. And of course, because my pencil on this iPad feels, when you press it down you could feel it, or when you leave it up you could actually get a more lighter tone. So what happens, I keep that variation in mind while I add this, and it helps me to know what kind of weight of the shadow that I want to add whatever I'm adding. So I'm gonna put this here in the hoof a little bit. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Add a little bit more in here in this hoof. And a little light one on this other one. He has his feet a little bit manicured here. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna cut this across like that. So that way you add kind of a dimension to your drawing and make it look a lot more real. So we're gonna go in here still on his lower part of the body. It's gonna cut like a round across here on the leg, and it will cut across his lower thigh, his hind left thigh a little bit like that, filling all over here in the leg area. Now to make it softer, you could just go ahead and actually bring in the smudge tool here and smudge a little bit so it doesn't look very sharp and plastic. That will do the trick for you. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring my favorite brush and just brush that in. Here it's a lot flat, so I'm just gonna go to town with it. Some portions to these drawings actually make it easier for you, while other portions are a lot more tricky. But if you have your drawing process down, everything becomes a lot more streamlined and a lot easier, and that way you can actually crank out a little bit more drawings at a given time. That being said, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button to this channel, and I'll actually appreciate it if you leave me a comment and also rate my artwork. That's a new thing that I'm doing. When you rate my artwork, I get to know exactly what you think about it. But the other thing is, please share. It helps the channel out a lot. And also, I was talking about how fast you could crank this out if you get your system down. I have more than 100 videos now of drawing these Pokemon, so I've drawn pretty much most of the common Pokemon as of today. So if you check the channel out in details, you'll be actually able to see a lot more Pokemon on this channel. So I'm gonna go in here. There's an in between here. I'm gonna get a bigger brush. There's a little bit of an in between here that is a lot more lighter. So it's what I'm attempting to do right now, and drop the opacity down. So like so. And then just go to it. Just go to it and kill the opacity all the way. Ooh, I don't like that. Oh, I'm on a whole different layer. That's why it's not giving me what I want. This is the layer I want to be on. So I'm going to go back to this one, put the opacity up a little bit. I'm going to go onto this one and put the opacity down a lot more. Like so. And actually, let me grab an eraser and add a little bit more definition to this. Right here. Make it look even more cuter. So we're almost done, guys. We just now need to add the shining part, and this drawing will be on its way out. I'm gonna go on this layer first, and I'll add the shadows for the horns. Ooh, that's too big. So I want to add the shadows for the horns. When they get to the rings, they loop around a little bit. And then go back in here. And then loop around a little bit. And then go all the way out. Like so. I know, I see that. I'm going to go ahead. Ooh, that's a big one. So I want my eraser to be down a little bit. Like so. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go on this other side too and do the same thing to add the shadow on this side. Add the shadow on the side of his horn. Make them look 3D. Give them a little bit of a 3D feeling there. I'm going to bring the smudge tool. Try to smudge down in a little bit. And make it feel a little bit more real. So now that that is done, now we're going to go ahead and actually bring in... the light side. Now that we kind of all set with the dark side, or you can call it the shadows, we're done with the shadows. We're gonna go ahead and do the light side a little bit. So that looks pretty good. Oh, I have a little bit more in here in his tail that I can add. That looks pretty good. Yeah, let's add the light part of it, and that we're gonna go for white. So I'm gonna add another layer on top of that one. I'm gonna choose color close to white, not all the way white, but close to white. And for this one, I'm actually gonna go ahead and use the pencil. I see a little bit of light in his nails, on his toes kind of area. And there is one of these ones that is actually running through his... It's running through his horn like this. I didn't think this through, so I didn't draw it on different layers. Now I'm kind of stuck on trying to run it through like right there. But it will work, so I just have to pay a little bit more attention. And grab this line. Pose it in there like so. This one actually hits all the way to the tip of the horn. Like so. And there's a little bit here in the nose. I'm actually gonna need a little bit of dark there because I missed out something here in the nose. Oops, no. I need color black. Yeah, I'd missed that part of the nose. Let me smudge it so it doesn't look so pronounced. That looks pretty good. I guess that is actually it that I want to communicate here today. I think I did a pretty good job, if you ask me. And you guys can go ahead and rate my artwork in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, please share and also leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to know what you think about this artwork and if it actually does it for you. And I'm working on this other poster that you can actually go ahead and choose what Pokemon you want me to draw. And if you leave that in the comment section below, then I'll go ahead and draw that Pokemon. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye-bye for now.